Hello everyone, welcome to the channel CSE Learning Club. I am Om Prakash Samantray. In this video, we are going to discuss data structures in computer science. I'll be recording a series of videos regarding this subject. Please subscribe my channel and share it among your friends because this channel is completely dedicated for our BTech students, MCA, MSc and BSc Computer Science and MTech Computer Science students. So please subscribe my channel and share the video among your friends. Let's get started. Data structures. So what is a data structure? Data structure is a specific way of organizing data in a computer's memory so that it can be used effectively. So when you are writing a program, you are dealing with data because every program has some input and some output. That is the input and output consisting of some data, right? So you need to store the data in an effective way so that it will increase the efficiency of a program. So to store the data in a particular way or in an organized way, we need data structures. We are using the simple data structures like int, char, float, double. All these are the basic data types or data structures, and some other data structures can also be used which are derived from these basic data types like arrays, structures, linked list, tree, graph. So all these are the examples of data structures. So throughout this series of videos, we'll be discussing about these data structures. So what are the different types of data structures? There are two types, primitive and non-primitive. The int, char, float, double, these basic data types are called as primitive data structures, whereas the other types of data structures like stack, queue, linked list, trees, graphs, these are called as non-primitive data structures. Non-primitive data structures are again categorized into two groups. These are linear and non-linear data structures. Linear data structure means the data structure in which the elements are connected in a one-to-one manner. That is, one element is connected to another element only. So one element is connected to another element. That is linear. In a non-linear, one element may be connected to many elements, right? So one to many or many to many manner, the non-linear data structure arranges the elements in the memory. That's why these are the two different categories of non-primitive data structure. You can see linear means one element connected to one element in a sequential manner. Examples are arrays, linked lists, stacks, queues. And when one element is connected to n number of elements, in that case, you can call it as a non-linear data structure. Trees and graphs, these are the examples of non-linear data structure. Now, what is an array? Because array is a linear data structure, so we will discuss all these things one by one. So what is an array? Array is a collection of similar type of elements stored in contiguous memory locations. So all the elements are of same type. All the elements are of integer type or floating point type or character type, so their data type must be same. That is called as array. So what is the advantage of using array? Whenever uh, you are going to use a number of variables in your program, suppose you want to store marks of 100 subjects, right? So in that case, you can either declare 100 variables. So you need to specify 100 different names for these 100 variables. It's a very tedious task. So to simplify this, you can use one array. with the 100 elements or with the size 100, so that with a single name you can specify 100 variables in an array, and it can also store 100 marks. Either it may be of integer type or it may be of floating point type. So array is a collection of elements of similar type which are stored in continuous memory location. So it is a derived data type because it is derived from the basic data type. Either it can be integer array, it can be a floating point array, it can be a character array. That's why we can call it as a derived data type. And each element can be accessed randomly by using its index number. Usually the array index starts from 0, so you can access the elements using the index value randomly. If you want to access the fourth element, you can access using the index 3, because the index starts from 0. So 3 denotes the fourth element. Similarly, if you want to access the sixth element, you can use the index 5. So using the index value, you can directly access the elements randomly. That is one of the advantages of using arrays. Right. So you can see the pictorial representation of array. In this diagram, you can see int ARR of 5. This is how you can declare the array in C programming. Int is the data type, ARR is the name of the array, and 5 is the size. That is, this array variable can accommodate 5 elements of integer type. 5 is the size of the array, right? So pictorially you can represent like this: ARR of 0, ARR of 1, ARR of 2, and so on. You can see the base address. The base address means the address of the first element is called as the base address. Then the second element's address is 104, assuming that each element occupies 4 bytes. That's why 4 is added to the addresses. The base address is 100, then next address is 104, next address is 108, and so on. So if you want to access the third element, you can directly access using the index 2. So if you display using the printf statement, if you want to display ARR of 2, then the third element is displayed, right? This is the pictorial representation of array. Now look at this code segment. This is the C program which creates one array of size 10, and these 10 values are also initialized at the compile time. Either you can initialize the array in compile time or runtime. So in this example, we have initialized the array at the compile time. That is, during the declaration itself, we have supplied the values, right? 10, 20, 30, 40, these are the 10 values which are stored in the array. Now, if you want to display all these 10 values one by one, then you need to read the elements of the array 10 times. So in order to read them in 10 times, you can use a for loop and write a printf statement inside the for loop, so that the same printf statement is repeated 10 times, right? So the same thing is done here. Loop counter is initialized to 0, loop is less than 10, then loop plus plus. So this loop is repeated for 10 times, and the printf statement is written inside the loop, which displays all the elements of the array, right? So this is how you can create and display the elements of the array. Of course, you can also initialize the array dynamically using a for loop. Using a for loop and a scanf statement inside the for loop, you can initialize the elements one by one. All the 10 elements can be supplied uh, through the keyboard by the user using a scanf statement inside a for loop. That's another way of initializing an array. Okay, now one of the most important operations of array is searching. To search or to find out whether one element is there in the array or not. We call that as a search operation. To search the element in an array, there are two methods available. One is linear search, another is binary search. Linear search means searching for an item in a sequential way, one by one. That is called as linear search. Binary search is somehow different from the linear search, but in the binary search, the array elements need to be sorted. Binary search can only be applied on sorted elements, right? We'll discuss these two things one by one. The sequential or linear search scan the array, comparing each array item with the searched value. That is, each item is compared with the search key. If a match is found, then the index of that item is returned. Otherwise, you can return -1 or any value to stop the procedure. Linear search can be applied on both sorted and unsorted arrays, but binary search can only be applied on sorted arrays. Remember this. This is one of the differences between linear and binary search. Now, see, this is the pseudocode. Whatever we have discussed, the procedure of the linear search, that is explained here in the form of an algorithm. You can take a snapshot of this and try to understand this. The same thing is written here. So let's not waste our time to discuss the same thing again. Let's go to the binary search. In the binary search, the elements need to be sorted order. That's why it is written here a of 0 less than equal to a of 1 less than equal to a of 2 and so on. That is, all the elements are in a sorted order. And in order to search the item, you need to go to the middle of the array. If the item to be searched is equal to the middle element, then the item is found. If the item to be searched is smaller than the middle element, then you need to search in the left side of the middle element, or the first half of the middle element. If the item to be searched is larger than greater than the middle element, then you need to search it in the right side of the mid, because mid is an element which divides the sorted array into two parts. All the elements present in the left side of the middle element are smaller than the middle element. All the elements which are present in the right side of the middle element are larger than the middle element, because the array is a sorted array, right? So it's similar to searching a word in a dictionary, because all the words in a dictionary are in a sorted order or alphabetically sorted. Whenever you are going to search a word in a dictionary, simply you are opening in the middle page. If the word is smaller than the word present in the middle page, then you are searching it in the first half, otherwise you are searching in the second half. The same concept is also applied here in the binary search. So the procedure here is look at the middle of the array. To go to the middle of the array, you can use this syntax: lower bound plus upper bound divided by 2. The lower index plus upper index divided by 2. You can take the floor value, right? You can go to the nearest middle element. You may not get the exact middle element in some arrays. You can go to the approximate middle element, and if the item to be searched is equal to the middle element, then it's well and good, the item is found. Otherwise, if it is smaller than the middle element, then search it in the first half, repeat the same procedure for the first half, otherwise repeat the same procedure for the second half. So you need to understand here that in every step the number of comparisons reduces the search space, or the number of comparisons are reduced by half as compared to the linear search, right? So each execution of this recursive method reduces the search space by about a half, because when the element is larger than the middle, you are only searching in the right hand side, so you are leaving the left hand side part of the sorted array. So at every step you are dividing the array into two parts and you are leaving one part, um, you are leaving one part and searching the item in another part. That's why the number of comparisons are also less in binary search. The binary search is efficient than the linear search, but in binary search the elements need to be in a sorted order, right? So this is the difference between linear search and binary search. You can see this example, that is a sorted sequence of elements. Item to be searched is 31. Now 31 is searched to the middle of the array. How to find the middle? Lower bound plus upper bound. So lower bound is 0 here, upper bound is 9. 0 plus 9 by 2, so 4.5. So 4.5, the lower the floor value of 4.5 is 4. So 4, the element which is present at index 4 is considered as the middle element. Now 27 is compared with 31. You know 31 is greater than 27, so 31 must be there in the right hand side of 27. So you are considering the right side subhalf of the array. That is, now you are considering the elements which are present in the right side of the middle element, that is 31 to 44. Now for 31 through 44 you need to apply the same process. Again you find out the middle of this sub array. So what is the lower bound? 5, and upper bound is 9. So 5 plus 9, 14 by 2 is equal to 7. So element which is present at index 7 is the middle element. 35 is the middle element now. Now 35 is compared with 31. 31 is smaller than 35, so you need to consider the left side elements of 35. So 31 and 33, these are there in the left hand side of 35. So apply the same procedure for 31 and 33. Now lower bound is 5, upper bound is 6. So 11, 5 plus 6 by 2. So 11 by 2 is equals to 5.5. Take the floor value, that is 5. So element which is present at index 5 is the middle element. So 31 is the middle element now. Item to be searched is also 31. Now 31 is compared with 31, match is found. So you just return the index value of 31. So item is found at index 5. So this is the procedure of searching an item using binary search, right? So you can take a snapshot here. This is a procedure, a pseudocode. Whatever we have discussed in our previous slides, the same thing is written here in the form of an algorithm, because while writing in an exam you need to write the pseudocode or algorithm to get good marks, right? So take a snapshot of this and try to understand the procedure. This is another example. Another array is taken here. The same procedure is applied here. You can see the item to be searched is 63. Now 63 is compared with the middle element 57. Now 57 and 63 are compared. 63 is larger than 57, so it should be there in the right hand side. So you need to see here the diagrammatic representation of array is done here vertically. So there is no hard and fast rule that array should be represented horizontally. It can also be represented vertically. To make you understand that, this example is also considered here, right? So 63 is larger than the middle element, that's why that must be there in the right hand side of the middle element. So now consider 63 to 90. These are the elements need to be considered in the second step. The same procedure is repeated for the right sub half. Now 80 is the middle element. Again 63 is smaller than 80, so it must be there in the left hand side of 80. So 63 and 75. That is the new sub half now. Now 63 is compared with the new mid element, that is 63. A match is found. So index value 5 is returned by the program. So this is the process of binary search. So in binary search, the elements need to be in a sorted way, sorted order. But in linear search, you can either use a sorted sequence of elements or unsorted sequence of elements. But binary search has less comparisons, that's why it is efficient as compared to the linear search. The time complexity is more in linear search, whereas in binary search, the time complexity is less, because in every step you are dividing the data into two parts. So thank you very much. In this video we have discussed fundamentals of data structures, arrays, linear search and binary search. In the next video we'll discuss some other techniques related to data structure. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please subscribe the channel and share the video with your friends. Thank you very much.